the cork off. A bourbon steward. It takes me a minute to get some words sometimes. Oh, that's puke. Ugh. Ripping his clothes and gnashing his teeth. Corn whiskey. I still haven't found my first Blanton's. The gremlins got to me. The gremlins are here. They're like, I had to start that live stream like 3 times. We're here. It's time to do some drinking is what it's time to do. All right, so OHLQ. Oh, rewind. Later on in this video, I'm going to debut. I know you just saw a new open. I just kind of futzed with it and I gave you a new open, but we're going to do another one. It's kind of a music video. And later on, after we're done tasting stuff, I'm going to play that music video for you. And that'll be our new open for 2025. We're going to make some changes. I'm going to make some changes to the studio, and it's going to be incremental, not all at once. But as I get the opportunity, build it out a little bit more, expand it, pretty it up a little bit more. And this new open, I think, is going to be a lot of fun. And I'll explain it after I play it. But for now, just know that that's coming. Right now, what we're going to do, though, is this one. OHLQ put out 32 bottles last week. 32 from Heaven Hill. They are all picks from Heaven Hill. Let me get into it here because I wrote them all down. I didn't want to mess it up. They brought us exclusive single barrel selections from the Heaven Hill portfolio, including Elijah Craig Private Barrel, Barrel Proof. Hey Larry, how are you? That says a lot, doesn't it? Private Barrel, Single Barrel, Barrel Proof. Okay, Rittenhouse Rye Barrel. I still want one of those. I do like Rittenhouse a lot. For the first time ever, Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel Proof, Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond Private Barrel. I got one of those. And Larceny Private Single Barrel Bourbon. The Barrel Proof Larceny doesn't stay on the shelf very much. That's some good stuff. And having it be a single barrel, yeah, that would be good. So, again, 32 bottles. They did several of the Rittenhouse, several of the Elijah Craig, several of the Elijah Craig Toasted. Hey, John's watching. Hey, John. Several of the Larceny, several of the Heaven Hill. There's just a bunch. There's just a bunch. This one is a little on the pricey side. They all were. This is $84.99. There were 12 barrels of this Elijah Craig chosen. Mine is barrel 7170822. It's 128.2 proof. Aged 8 years. Mash bill is 78% corn, 12% malted barley, and 10% rye, which, again, we're getting into that low rye area. If you don't like rye, then this, and you like proof, this might be one that would be attractive to you. There we go. So I'm going to leave it uncorked. Now let's put it back up there. So, a little bit of background. The Reverend Elijah Craig was a Baptist teacher. Come on. Whoop, whoop, whoop. That's what happens when the computer and everything starts to give me a little bit of headaches. It throws me off, and it makes me get this idea that I have to hurry. I have nothing to hurry for. Come on. Reverend Elijah Craig was a Baptist preacher, an educator, and an entrepreneur who built the first paper and wood mills in Georgetown, Kentucky. But for all of his industries, it was his gift as a distiller and an innovator that brought him the greatest acclaim. He's known as the father of bourbon. Take it easy, we have a party tomorrow. I know we do. English as a first language. No habla. Elijah Craig, unfortunately, and they don't hide from this, Elijah Craig was also a slave owner. That's not necessarily an unusual story. If you look at the way some bourbon companies got started, as a matter of fact, it was a minister who owned a slave. It made him master distiller. His name was Nearest Green, and he taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey. And then decades, hundreds of years later, it comes out that that gentleman who taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey, and he was a slave, and he was, His name is Nearest Green. And they came out with an Uncle Nearest bourbon a while back, and it's a Tennessee whiskey. There's a couple different ones, and now I just saw the other day they've released a new one that gives him his name back. It's wonderful. It's right there on the label. It says Nearest Green. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a rye or a bourbon or what it is. It makes it different. I haven't looked at it that closely. I just saw it on the shelf and went, there we go. Because I do like Uncle Nearest. As a matter of fact, I like this 1884 probably the best. There's an 1896. There's another one as well, and then there's this Nearest Green, which is brand new, and I don't know what that is, but this is the 1884. This is that one. I can't stay out of it. And the more it gets to the bottom, the even better it gets. It gets a little more sweeter, little less Tennessee-like. Just rounds out those flavors. That's a really, really good one. But Nearest Green taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey. And in the case of Elijah Craig, he also had a slave. Now, in the case of Nearest Green got emancipated, got his acreage, got his house, continued to be a master distiller, and then I don't know where it went from there, other than he died in time and maybe his recipe went away. I don't know. The minister that started all this he had it back behind his church, and he was told that he had to move. The parishioners of the church didn't like having a still back behind the church, so he ended up having to move it. As far as I know, he might have moved it to Nearest Green's house. I don't know. Anyway, it's a neat story for Nearest Green, and I love the fact that, all these hundreds of years later, 150 years later, now I see his name on the shelf. It's just neat. It's just cool. In 1789, Elijah Craig became the first distiller to age his whiskey in new charred oak barrels. The very first. That's why they call him the father of whiskey. Some claim that it was an accident, that it might have been an accidental fire that charred his barrels and changed the way the whiskey tastes inside. Others say he stored his whiskey in former sugar barrels and was impressed with how the charring in those sugar barrels improved the flavor of his bourbon. So this is a mouthful. This is the Elijah Craig private barrel, single barrel, barrel proof. I got people talking and I don't want to miss it. Michael, hey, Michael's watching. Glad you're here. We got that video that I promised you. We got that music video coming up. That's going to be our new intro, if you think you like it. If you think you like it. We've been doing this show now for 4 years. Can you believe it? We started this in January, really, of 2021. We had a couple of them in 2020, but we really got started the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021. Last week with Trish was show number 250. Now, we failed to make a big deal out of that, so I'll do it now. Woo! 250! And we're celebrating with Elijah Craig, private barrel, barrel proof, single barrel. I've got the whole story of Heaven Hill here too, but I don't think I'm going to do all that. The one thing I'll tell you one little thing from the Heaven Hill thing. I thought it was cool. The land that they bought for Heaven Hill Distillery, the gentleman who owned the land, his last name was Heaven Hill. All one word. Turned out when they were doing the paperwork, somebody screwed up and made it Heaven Hill, and it would have cost $10. Now, back 150 years ago, $10 was a lot of money. Well, it still kind of is sometimes, depending on what you're buying. For whiskey, it's not a whole lot. But again, it was Heaven Hill. That was all one word, but they messed up on the paperwork. And it would have cost $10 to change it, so they just left it 2 words, and now it's been Heaven Hill. It's been like that ever since. So, kind of an interesting little story. Still have snow on the ground here. Yeah, so do we, unfortunately. What are you guys talking about? What are you talking about? Is it almost time to go to the backyard? Oh, that's what he's talking about. Hi, Chris. How are you? No. I know you're used to nicer weather out in Coachella Valley, California. It's been in single digits this week. It's going to be, I think, down to 13 tonight. We should have 40 by the weekend, but it's not going to last. It's going to go up and down and up and down and up and down until the weather is done. That's why we have nice, warm bourbon. We can carry our sunshine on the inside. All right, so once again, 78% corn, 12% malted barley, a low rye, 10% rye. Even their ryes are low ryes. their rye, the Elijah Craig rye is a 51% rye, and it matches that of other Heaven Hill brands like Pikesville and Rittenhouse. And it also matches the mash bill of Sazerac from Buffalo Trace. By the way, Pikesville is very good. If you like rye, you want a low rye, and you want something with a little heat, the Pikesville is delicious. There are some very typical notes here. I'm not getting really any ethanol at all, which is nice considering its proof. 128.2. I'm getting some cinnamon and some caramel. Caramel if you don't have a degree. See, I turned it around there? I turned it around. Sorry. I'm sorry. Michael's talking. But the pitchers and catchers have reported to spring training. Hey, Bill, how are you? Pitchers and catchers reported to spring training. Well, it's warmer there, too. Looking for some citrus, and I'm not finding it, but I did find some honey. There's some notes that are just going to be ubiquitous throughout. They're going to be typical bourbon notes, especially when you have a sweeter bourbon like Elijah Craig. The Elijah Craig, the Buffalo Trace, some of those are a little on that sweeter side. The Uncle Nearest 1884, a little sweeter than 1896. There is a fruit note here. It's not citrus. I didn't write down the notes, so I can't tell you what it is. It's just something fruity. It's very small. It's not big. I'm getting the caramels, the honeys, and the cinnamons more than anything else. Not even a heavy oak, really. Not a lot of a little vanilla. Found a little vanilla. Had to look for it. Found it. Little graham cracker. Okay. Hey, John, how are you? All right. Time to give this bad boy a try. This is, again, 128, is it 6 or 8? I can't tell. 128.2 proof. Whew. That's warm. All right. That is a slow bloom. But boy, when it hits, it hits. Ha ha ha. Ha ha. I'm sorry, just give me a minute. That doesn't happen very often anymore. I've become quite a proof hound. But this one hit. This one went whoosh. Whew. It took a minute, though. It didn't do it right away. And so recently you've seen, and it's been a little bit last year, a little bit this year, you've seen it when I've taken a sip, nothing, and just swallow it, and that's when all of a sudden, boing, that burn hits. It's like you open your mouth and you let a little air in, it's like stoking a fire, right? Giving the fire a little oxygen. This wasn't like that. This was warm. This was warm. I got people talking. Yeah, we did have fun last week. We did. Trish, this one would knock you on your butt. I'm just saying. All right. Okay. Now, the finish I'm getting on this is very, very woodsy, which I didn't expect. I don't know that I've ever tasted that out of an Elijah Craig before. Elijah Craig tends to be normally about 94 proof for the small batch, and tends to be very sweet, has a very sweet finish as well. This one, on the other hand, the finish is not altogether sweet, but that was the first sip. So I'm going in. The music video is coming up. That's going to be our new intro if you like it. I'll need some feedback on it. It's coming up. All right. It's very fun. I can't wait to tell you about it. Bloom was even slower that time and didn't hit me as hard. There is some fruit on that for sure. I got a little of it in the nose, but I'm getting a lot more of it on the palate. I cannot tell you, the closest thing I can tell you is maybe blackberry. I'm not getting a black cherry, for sure. It's, I had Angel's Envy Triple Oak last weekend. Oh, dude, I've been wanting to try that one. At Old City Prime, that's a great steakhouse in Lima. Not Lima, if you're from out of the state, but it's Lima. I've been to Old City Prime. That's a place, the steaks are fantastic, but it's also a place where they still make Caesar salads tableside. Oh, it's a great steakhouse. I've only ever been there once, but oh my goodness, was it good. Anyway, he says, Chris says he's not an AE fan, Angel's Envy fan, but that was a really good pour with a flavor explosion at the beginning and the end. You got to try it if you haven't. I haven't tried that one. And the other one that Angel's Envy did, they did one without the port sherry finishing. I would really like to try that. Find out what their whiskey tastes like without the port barrel finish. I'd like to try that. There was some other news I had too. Oh, I know what it was. I don't have it ready. I was going to do it and I didn't do it. I will tell you this. There's a survey that went out as to the top whiskeys in the state of Ohio. You're not going to believe which whiskey is the #1 whiskey in Ohio as far as sales by volume. Now, it got beat by Tito's. Yeah, I might actually have it. I might actually have it. Hold on. James is watching. Hey, James, how are you? Let me find it. Okay. So let's see. Ohioans bought in 2024. Ohioans bought 16.4 million gallons of liquor, which is a 2.6% decrease from 2023. Then it keeps going. Blah blah blah. What did we drink? All right, so the top 10 liquor brands in the state of Ohio. Here it is. You're not going to believe this. Tito's, of course, was #1. Tito's vodka, which is not the best vodka. It's just the best marketed vodka. And when you buy it, like, they give money to dogs. I like dogs, you know. So, but that's not the best vodka to me. Best selling, yes. Best marketed, yes. So the highest selling whiskey in the state of Ohio was Crown Royal, a Canadian whiskey, for crying out loud. Sold 815,455 gallons of it. Smirnoff was next, then Jack Daniels, then Jim Beam, then Jose Cuervo, then, come on, Ohio, Fireball? Gosh. I've never had Fireball. Absolute, which is a vodka, New Amsterdam, which is a vodka, and then bottom of the list, the 10th one, is Evan Williams Black Label. That's the 80 proof, which for an 80 proof, that's a pretty tasty whiskey. But those are your top 10 boozes for the state of Ohio. Believe it or not, it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. All right, let's get back into this again. Crown Royal. Crown freaking Royal. Crown Royal, Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, and Evan Williams. All 80 proof pours. You guys are missing out on the good stuff, man. You put water in it, you water that stuff down, the 80 proof pour, I get it. But you mix it, what's left of it? Okay. I can't read it without my glasses. My eyes are getting even worse. I'm sorry. James says, "You." I'm with you, James. My grandmother loves her some Crown. I don't hate Crown. I like it when I'm in a mood for something, 80 proof. I like it better than I like Jack Daniels 80 proof, but I'd rather go to Jim Beam or Evan Williams for either one of them if I'm going to proof down. All right. I'd rather just keep it at least 94, wrong tube. Oh, that hurts. So I was talking to somebody the other day. Oh my gosh. Talking to somebody, just Monday. And he was saying that he'd been watching the Bourbcast and he has started to aerate on his tongue like I tried to do right there and waited too long to do with 128 proof. That was bad. Anyway, he didn't know why I do that. But but what you're doing is you're giving it air, right? The same as if you're leaving your bottle open or, you know, after it's set a couple of weeks or something like that, when you take that dram, you're giving it some air when you slurp it like that. It's an old wine trick. It helps open it up on the palate and give you more. I know it's annoying to listen to, and I hear myself do it, and it's like, I wish I could do that quieter, but you really can't. Anyway, so I took my sip, and I thought, you know what? The first time I took a sip, I didn't aerate it, and the finish seemed woodsy. The second time I aerated it, and it didn't seem woodsy. So this time I thought, I took the dram, and it's like, oh, I got to aerate that. But it was too late. It was already halfway down my gullet. So we'll just have to pour more. It's okay. Goodness gracious. 128 proof, that hurt a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Because the Crown Royal has gone with all the different flavors. The honey, blackberry, apple, and vanilla, they have the biggest array of flavor to choose from. No, they don't. They have a similar array of flavor to choose from. Well, if you add the salted caramel and the blackberry, they're branching out. But Jim Beam and Evan Williams and Jack Daniels all have quite a few different types of flavors as well. I'm going to burp now. That's what happens when you get it down the wrong tube and you get all that air and you're burping. It's a Bourbcast. Going back to the Bourbcast. All right. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to digress. I went up in my sinuses. It's just an owie. 128 proof in your nose. Oh my. All right. This time I'm going to do it right. So, sorry. Okay. I'm getting the sweetness now. It's set out a little bit. I aerated it. Some of that sweetness is coming out. Not getting that woodsy finish anymore. On the palate, believe it or not, the honey's popping. The caramel's popping. The cinnamon is in. Oh, now it just left. There's something else I picked out. Butter. I got butter. I will tell you, this doesn't happen very often, but butter is one of my favorite notes. It's just got a little of that saltiness to it. There's just something about a butter note that really makes me happy. This is the barrel proof, private barrel strength. And it's got everything going for it. Now the private barrel, if you had a store in the state of Ohio, and we can't do that here, but if you have a store in the state of Ohio or anywhere, and they want to do a pick, a store pick, their pick may be out of the private barrel, single barrel proof. But since we don't do that in Ohio, since the agencies, the stores can't do that, restaurants and bars kind of can. Private groups definitely can. I think the restaurants and bars can. Just the agencies can't. Excuse me. So if you were anywhere else out of the state of Ohio and you owned a liquor store and you wanted to do a pick, this would probably be what you'd end up with, is a private barrel proof single barrel pick. Well, that's what this is. State of Ohio did this, and there were 12 different ones of these. And they all had very similar notes. This is actually quite outstanding. A little hotter than I would normally go. I'm not going to complain about it. All right. Bird Dog. Yeah, Bird Dog's got a lot of flavors, and so does Old Smoky. I'm not into the flavored stuff. I mean, that's fine. Drink it how you like it. If you like that flavored stuff, go for it. Crown Royal, to me, has the best tasting flavored array. Like they had honey. Honey was fantastic. They had maple. That was fantastic. I haven't had the blackberry yet. I don't like the apple at all. But their peach is the best peach on the market, I think. I don't think Crown Royal's done anything cinnamon, have they? They haven't had like a Fireball equivalent or something like that, have they? Yet. All right. All right, mouthfeel. We didn't talk about it much. Very thick, very viscous, very nice. Does not dry out your mouth. I've had some with a lot lower proofs that have just sucked all the moisture out of my cheeks. This doesn't do that. It takes a little bit, not a lot, not enough to be noticeable. A little off the tongue. Still warm. Flavors are very nicely balanced, although time I got a little more cinnamon again. Some of that cinnamon presents itself when you have a higher rye content. This doesn't have that high rye content, it's only 10%. So it's other flavors are gonna come around. I think probably the predominant flavor for this for me is the caramel, maybe the honey behind it, graham cracker for sure. Maybe a slight little, it just hit me a little bit of, I want to say scutterbotch. It's what my dad used to call it, butterscotch. Scutterbotch. But this is the guy that went past Big Bear, you know, the old grocery chain, and they had this small part of the R that was unlit. It had burned out, and he called it Big Beep. And it was Big Beep until he died. Or until, well, Big Bear died. And then there was Woolworths. And there was one day that the L was burnt out. And he called it Woolworths, and it was Woolworths forever. And then, he decided one day that he was going to go to Wendy's, and he went into Wendy's, and he decided that it was Wendy Barf, and it was always Wendy Barf, and I don't know why he called it Wendy Barf. He liked Wendy's, but then it became the Burger Barf, the Chili Barf, and the Fry Barf, and the Frosty Barf. Just a Wendy's thing only. My dad was an unusual fellow. All right, yeah. Okay, so let's put this on water. Might as well just go here. I know, I'm taking a minute. I'm sorry. I don't mean to. I know you're waiting for the music video. That's coming up. I hope you like it. It was so much fun to make. I hope you dig it. So, a friend of mine, if you don't already know this, 2, 3, for the last 23 years, have been making videos. I'm a video producer. I've done videos for companies as large as Delta Airlines, as small as your local car dealership. I've done it all. And I still like doing as much video production as I can. It kind of died during COVID, and it really hasn't come back. So I get to play a little bit. Well, a friend of mine works at DePauw University in Indianapolis, and he was making this video, and he wanted me to create captions as if it was a karaoke. He wanted the words on the screen for it, and so I did it, and then I found out, and I'm giving you a little bit of inside baseball here, so bear with me. This is the precursor to the big event. He was using an AI song generator. I had no idea. I was listening to the song and I'm thinking, man, this sounds really great. Better than anything I produced when he and I were working together with Delta Airlines in the hospital and everything else that we used to do. And so he was using this song generator, this AI song generator, and he told me where it was, and I went online and started playing with it. And if you'll remember, back when we did Blue Note, there was a description of what a juke joint was. And I decided to play with this generator, and I put that description of what a juke joint is in the song matrix of the AI. And it made it a song. And it wasn't just a, random piece of stuff song. It was cool. And these words were not meant to be lyrics at all.
A juke joint is the African American vernacular term for an informal establishment featuring music, dancing, gambling, and drinking. Primarily operated by African Americans in the South Juke, which means infamous and disorderly.
So I got playing with it, and lo and behold, I decided I was going to do something for Beautiful Bourbon. And I had a blast. I can't wait for you to hear it and see it. That's coming up. It's coming up. All right. So this Elijah Craig private barrel, single barrel, barrel proof. With 3 drops of water on it. All right. Boy, did that open up. My word. That's fantastic. Whoa. It got sweeter, it got fruitier. Nice. Oh. And it got hotter. See, this is, again, that phenomenon comes back where you add water to it, you're proofing it down, but, but the bloom on the tongue comes back in full force. I don't know why that is. I got to talk to somebody and find out why that is. That's crazy. But oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that's good. That's good. That's very, very good. Just rounds it out, brings everything together. That caramel's still number 1. Caramel if you have a degree. There's that honey, and now I'm able to discern it even more now. It's not honey as much as it is honeycomb. So it's going to be it's the sweetness of honey with a little bit of earthiness around it. Really very, very nice. That is a very, very nice pour. All right. I know I'm boogieing through now because I've been so goofy. By the way, gorgeous ice sphere. Isn't it gorgeous? Gorgeous. And wet. All right. Now, so for those of you that are newer to the show, my friend Paul, we have a pact. I don't use a spoon to stir. Now, if this was somebody else's drink, I would use a spoon to stir. But we finger stir. John says, Crown Apple and Cherry Pepsi taste like candy apple from the county fair. So, the woman at the liquor store, when I bought Crown Apple, she told me to buy some cranberry juice. She said it was delicious. 1 sip, diabetes. No. And I don't eat candy apples from the fair. It's either an egg roll, a gyro, or gyro if you're Cro-Magnon. You can look that up. Sorry. Sorry. Or chocolate-covered frozen cheesecake on a stick. Nothing else at the fair matters. I said what I said. All right. Well, that proofed it way down. There's still some good flavors there. That honeycomb is still popping. That fruit, whatever it is coming out a little bit more. Boy, that brought that down a notch or 2 or more. Jeremy's watching. Hey, Jeremy, how are you? Thank you for coming to the show. You're going to see the video here shortly. We got a video to show you. Strangely enough, on ice is where I get the most oak. Neat, and on water I didn't notice the oak, but on ice I do. And that's that earthy side. That earthy side that I tasted the first time, that what I said was woodsy, that was the oak. I didn't realize it until now that the ice brought it down a notch. So very interesting. The ice took a lot out of it, but not so much that it's not drinkable, that you can still turn this into a nice cocktail. And some of the sweetness is retained. So that's a nice thing. All right, I've talked enough. Now, I'm going to play this video for you, talk about it just a little bit, and I'm going to come back and tell you what's next week. Hopefully this blows your mind, what we're doing next week, because I'm stoked. I've owned this bottle for a while. I have yet to open it. What's the matter with me? But, so here it is. Here's the debut of the new video that is, if you like it, it'll be our new intro. Check this out. Broke the cork off.
The nose is first. Explore the aroma. Open the secrets. It's telling you.
Ooh, that's nice.
Then that first sip. Let it sit on your tongue. And you know it's just so beautiful.
I like that better than I thought I would.
Beautiful bourbon.
Oh, that's puke. Oh, so refreshing.
It's beautiful bourbon.
Oh, isn't it gorgeous? Still haven't found my first Blanton's.
Beautiful bourbon.
Wow. All right. I had to include the Blanton's clip because that's like my favorite clip of all time. Found my first Blanton's. That's going to be in every intro I create for the end of time. As long as I do this, that clip is going to be in there because I think it is so fun. Kim is watching. Hey, Kim. I met Kim today. Kim is working on behalf of a campaign here in the state of Ohio. I'm not going to tell you who or what. But she's working on behalf of a campaign, and it was funny. It was really funny, actually. So I meet her, and I hear her talking to somebody else, and she says how much she loves cigars and bourbon. And I look at her, I go, "Are you married?" She goes, "Yes, I am." And her husband likes cigars and bourbon too, which is fantastic. That's a match made in heaven as far as I'm concerned. So Kim, I'm glad you're here. Encore, you want to see it again, Justin? All right, we'll play it again. I can do that. This is the video. This is the video. Thank you, Justin. That really made me feel good. I like this. All right, here it is. Okay. I just broke the cork off.
The nose is first. Explore the aroma. Open the secrets. It's telling you.
Ooh, that's nice.
Then that first sip. Let it sit on your tongue. And you know it's just so beautiful.
Okay. I like that better than I thought I would.
Beautiful bourbon.
Oh, that's puke. Oh, so refreshing.
It's beautiful bourbon.
Oh, isn't it gorgeous? Still haven't found my first Blanton's.
Beautiful bourbon.
Wow. All right. Isn't that just too much stinking fun? I'm glad, Justin, that you like it. Tricia likes it. Pretty cool, she says. That's great. So, yeah. So there you go. All right. So you ready to find out what we're going to do next week? I've been seeing people talking about this recently because all of a sudden it's popped back out on the shelves of stores. You're too much. I am too much. I am too much. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'm seeing it pop back up out there, and I just happen to have a bottle of it. This is a couple of years old, but it's still, I mean, come on. Yeah, Elijah Craig 18. Oh, I've been wanting to open this bad boy. I've been wanting to just nurture it and suckle it and just, I've had full disclosure, I have had the Elijah Craig 18 one other time. I was at a bar. There was a guy that was buying, and he got me a shot of this or a sip of this. Oh my golly. So I'm going to open this next week, and we're going to take, hopefully you can find a bottle. If you can't, just come along for the ride, because I'm telling you, I can't wait. All right, I got people talking. Yes, I'm jealous now. Sorry, Justin. So I want to know, was that music video good enough to be the new intro for 2025, or do I need to keep going? Do I need to keep experimenting? I need to know what you guys think. Should I keep playing? I need a yes or no from everybody watching. Yes or no. Is that the new intro? Tell me. I gotta go. I gotta know. So, all right. So the Elijah 18, Justin, I am stoked. So this one was bottled. This is how long I've held on to this. July 18th of 2020. I've had this a while. Yep. And I've got 2 of these. But I haven't opened them because they are one of those things that you just don't see. You don't see them anywhere. So the Elijah Craig 18, I love Elijah Craig. The ryes, the bourbons from the 94 all the way up. I've loved everything I've had from Elijah Craig. The regular single barrel, the toasted barrel, the toasted single barrel. Everything I've had has been great. I love the rye, the low rye, 51%. It's delicious, and I've got a few of those floating around here somewhere. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. The Elijah Craig 18. I'm looking forward to this one. It's been sitting here for a while. I had to dust it off a little bit. Old Overholt, you know about this. Old Overholt is my pour. The Old Overholt 114 is a whiskey that went out to Pennsylvania and Ohio only in 2020. And it was an allocation. I was under the impression that maybe they were going to continue to make it. Old Overholt is now owned by Jim Beam. I had been given the impression that they were going to make it and continue to make it, but now in Ohio, it's been delisted. It was only available in Pennsylvania and Ohio. So that tells me that they've run through their allocation from 2020 and it's done, it's disappearing. I locally bought the last 2 bottles on the shelf. And I do not yet have a full case. So I'm going to be looking for that over the weekend, trying to fill that case and maybe a couple extra of what's left of the Old Overholt 114. If you know me, it's a $19 bottle. It's 114 proof. It's one of the best things out there. The closest thing to it, if you like rye, and again, I think it's a mid-level rye. It's not a high rye. It's not 95.5 or anything like that. It could be closer to the 50, 60 range. It's a Monongahela rye, but it's just, I mean, the closest thing is going to be the Bottled and Bond. If you find the Old Overholt Bottled and Bond, buy it. 100 proof. It's only 7% lower than the 114. But the 114, sweet spot. Sweet spot. But they've stopped making it. The allocation is gone. What I've got is what I've got. Now it's got to last me for the rest of my life. All right. We got votes coming in. Give us 2 to choose from. Thumbs up on the intro. 2 to choose from. It's more work than that. It's work. It's the other one isn't as fun. It's slower. It's sexier. Not sure it fits our vibe. I like the fun sound of the kind of, it's jazzy, it's salsa kind of thing. I think I like it. All right. I'm gonna go. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I do appreciate it. The Elijah Craig Private Barrel, barrel proof, single barrel is, especially on a little bit of water, just opens up. It's beautiful. Wonderful pour. I'm glad I did it. It's 128 proof and I'm feeling it now. So Gonna go eat something now. And we will see you next week for the Elijah Craig 18 year.